Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome Ryan.
Thank you.
We're going to start here in about 5 to 10 more minutes. We're going to wait for a few more folks to come on in, okay?
Sure.
Hello.
Hi, Jackson. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Hey there.
We have David.
Hello.
Hi, Leah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Kayla. I see Paul there too. Hey, Paul. Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, if you'd like to, go ahead in the chat room and share with us, your high school that you're coming from, maybe your hometown, and also the major that you were admitted to at Cal Poly.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Kyle. I'm from Spokane. I go to Meade High School, and I'm going to be majoring in mechanical engineering.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Ryan Doran. I'm going to be majoring in biomedical engineering, and I'm from Bellingham, Washington.
Awesome. Welcome, Ryan.
Jackson Perkins, also from Bellingham, Seahome High School. I'll be majoring in biological science.
Fantastic.
Hi.
David, I'm from Mercer Island, Washington, and then I'm majoring in mechanical engineering.
Fantastic. Congratulations, David.
Thank you.
I'm Eugenia, and I'm going to Newport High School. I'm from Bellevue, and I will be doing biomedical engineering.
Awesome. Welcome, Eugenia.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm from Issaquah, Washington. I go to Issaquah High School, and I will be majoring in mechanical engineering.
Fantastic, Katie. And anyone else who wants to share, if you want, you can go ahead and just type in that information in our group chat there. In Zoom, you'll see that right at the bottom lower area there. Looks like we've got Peyton from Bishop Blanchette. Wow, there's so many of you. Hazel, I recognize you from Holy Names. Awesome. Majoring in biomed engineering. That's awesome. Max. Hey, Max, good to see you. That's Max from Charles Wright Academy. Looks like we also have Grace. Grace from Edmonds Woodway. So many familiar faces. I'm so happy to see everyone. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes, but everyone, feel free to go ahead and share with everyone where you're from, what high school you attend, and also the major that you will be studying here at Cal Poly as well. Looks like we've got Zoe from Bellevue as well. Bella from Sammamish. Hi, Selena from Lake Taps. Got Chris studying civil engineering from Bishop Blanchette as well. Hi, Hugh. Nice to see you. Is anyone here with their families as well? Any parents coming today to hear about Cal Poly? I know Hugh's dad is an alumni. We've got Ava from Bellingham. Oh, hi, Harrison, your dad is here too. Welcome, Father. Katrina from Shorecrest, majoring in business administration. Got Alex from Mercer Island, gonna study computer engineering. Awesome. Hi, Hugh. I can see you now.
Hi.
Hi, Ethan. All right, we've got Jeff Spencer and Dad. Got David studying civil engineering. Oh, we've got Luke from Ballard and Jacob from Eastside Catholic, going to study aerospace engineering. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Going to wait just a few more minutes here. Hi, Jordan from Eastside Catholic. Gonna study nutrition. Welcome. Pranav, I'm so happy to see you. Welcome from Skyview High School. We also have Courtney from University High School in Spokane, planning to study biology. Anyone else, if you're joining us, please feel free to write in your name, your high school, and what you're going to be majoring in here at Cal Poly as well. Okay, I think we are going to get started. First of all, hello, good evening. My name is Ryan. I'm the Regional Admissions Manager for Cal Poly here in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up on the beautiful Central Coast of California, so Cal Poly has really been a fixture all of my life. I've been with Cal Poly in the admissions office for over 3 years now. I currently live in Portland, and I love that from here I'm able to meet with students all over Washington and Oregon to tell them all about Cal Poly. I also love being a part of this Cal Poly community even from far away. Before we get started, I have some tips for you about working in Zoom. I know a lot of us are starting to use this platform a lot more recently. Please, if you could just do us a favor and mute yourselves. That way we could eliminate some of the background noise. But feel free to turn on or leave your cameras on if you'd like. It's really great to see all of your familiar faces, and it almost feels like we are all here together. If you prefer to leave the camera off, that's totally okay too. You'll see in that chat box, we've included some campus resources that are available for you to download there, but we will also be emailing those to you as well. So if you miss out on them, you will get those eventually. Feel free to ask any questions that come up at any time during this presentation in the Zoom chat box. You'll see that down below. You can also start to direct questions to specific speakers when we do introduce our panel, if that would be helpful to you. First of all, welcome to all of our students, our admitted students, parents, and supporters, and congratulations. We're so excited for all of you and what you've been able to achieve. I also want to acknowledge that we are living in some unprecedented times, and we know that your lives have been turned upside down because of COVID-19. Because of that, I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your schedules today to join us virtually. Seniors, I can't imagine what this must be like going through this while trying to make these difficult decisions and transitions this year. And it really speaks volumes to your resilience that you are looking forward and ready to see the potential of what is to come. I've had the opportunity to meet many of you this past year at your high schools, at college fairs. Some of you we've met for coffee, and I know how hard you've been working. All of that hard work is what has gotten you there. A lot of late nights, doing homework, studying for SATs, participating in lots of clubs and volunteering. That has all led you here. This is your moment, and we really want to celebrate you and your many accomplishments. We also want to take a moment to honor and thank our parents and supporters that have joined us today. I'm so happy that I see so many of you out there. We want to thank you for your love and support that you've shown your student throughout the years that helped them achieve their academic success. We know family support is so important, and we are so happy that you're here to learn more about Cal Poly as well. First and foremost, we hope you and your families are safe and healthy. And although we are not able to meet in person at this time, we still want to give you the opportunity to learn more about Cal Poly and have your questions and concerns addressed. During this event, we're going to go over some important dates, deadlines, and resources that are important to our admitted students. I know that you probably applied to Cal Poly because you see the strength of our academics, our reputation for producing highly qualified graduates, and the value of starting in your chosen major on day one. For many of you, our Learn by Doing philosophy appeals to you and your learning style. Now that you've been admitted, you are probably considering what it really means to spend the next few years of your life with us and what a degree from Cal Poly can help you achieve. We also have a few Cal Poly proud individuals here with us today, and they will all have a chance to speak about their experience at Cal Poly. Many of you have had the chance to visit San Luis Obispo and to tour Cal Poly, but for those of you who didn't get the chance and were planning to this spring, I wanted to let you know that we do have an awesome virtual tour up on our website right now, thanks to our amazing student ambassadors. It's no replacement for the real thing, but it's a great way for you to see what campus looks like from the comfort of your home. San Luis Obispo, or SLO as we affectionately call it, is a classic college town. It's located on the central coast of California. The climate there is sunny and moderate. It's usually between 65 to 85 degrees throughout the year. There's lots of opportunities to explore the outdoors, from paddleboarding in Morro Bay to hiking up Bishop's Peak. It's truly like going to college in paradise. There's at least 5 beaches within 10 minutes away. The city of San Luis Obispo has been rated as the #1 college town in America and the happiest city in the US according to Oprah, and I think you can see why. Here is a sneak peek of where you could call home for the next few years. All right, everyone, hold on just a moment. We're having a few technical difficulties here. Just bear with me here.
Ryan,
Yes,
I have the video. Are you ready?
yes, I am. Thank you.
How you start each new day says a lot about you. At Cal Poly, we begin by putting knowledge into action. We call it Learn by Doing. And for more than a century, we've made this idea the center of everything we do. We believe that experience is part of the curriculum. We don't see any difference between education and keep learning for the rest of our lives.
All right, thanks for bearing with us, folks.
Lives. So when we begin our day, we dive right in, head first and hands on, because we're not satisfied to sit on the sidelines of our own education. And we know that if we want to make an impact on our world tomorrow, we have to put in the work today. If at first we don't succeed, we rework, rearrange, reimagine, redesign, rethink, rebuild, and refuse to give up. Because our state, our nation, and our world need us to be ready from day one, to take what we learn by doing and use it to help build a brighter future. How you start each day says a lot about you. How you spend your day says even more about how you'll start your career and how you'll live your life. Because it's one thing to be ready one day, and it's quite another to be ready day one.
Great. Thank you all for bearing with some of those technical difficulties. This is definitely a situation that all of us are adapting to, I'm sure, in all of our lives, working with technology and how these things sort of happen. But I'm glad that you got to see that video because it shows so many ways that Cal Poly students are able to learn by doing, both inside and outside the classroom, and a variety of different majors, clubs, organizations. Our students are a part of a community that's creating a better future. And if you become a Mustang, you'll also be prepared to continue that work long after you graduate. Next, I would like to introduce our amazing Cal Poly panelists. Each member will give you an introduction to who they are, how they're connected to Cal Poly, and will share more with you about Cal Poly academics, student life, and important resources for newly admitted students. We're going to start our panel today with a current student. Her name is Zanea Kino. She comes from the Seattle area, and she is currently in the computer science program at Cal Poly. Zanea, welcome. Please share with us a little bit about your Cal Poly experience.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Zanea Kino, pronouns she, her, hers. Right now, I'm currently in San Luis Obispo, but I'm from Federal Way, Washington. I am an alumni of Racebeck Aviation High School. If any of you are from there, go Phoenixes. I think that's what we are. But a little bit more about my Cal Poly experience. I'm currently a fourth-year computer science major, minoring in psychology. And in terms of my involvement, I'm really heavily involved. I'm also a PolyRep, which is one of the campus ambassadors. So if any of you have watched the virtual tour, I make a little surprise visit. But in terms of my time at Cal Poly, one of the really main reasons why I chose this place was due to the whole learn by doing experience with the presence of like small classroom sizes. Because of that kind of structure that's been available, I've had so many different opportunities. I've been able to befriend professors. I've been able to find support. I've been able to overall like be engaged in some really cool projects. Within my classes alone, I've done a lot of things. I've created a phishing website, as in like I stolen the identity of my TA that quarter. I've taken I took natural language processing last quarter, and I was able to work on a project with the current the public school system in San Luis Obispo, and we created basically a program that would allow to help fourth grade teachers grade the essays of their students to help save them time. Overall, Cal Poly does a really great job of giving you that hands-on experience without necessarily compromising the education that comes with it. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, one thing that the school recognizes is that when you're in the field, you're not going to be paid by the hour reading a textbook or anything like that. You're actually going to be doing things that are relevant to your major and relevant to whatever industry you're working in. So that's what they try to do to you starting from the day one, like the whole day one readiness. That's not a lie, it's for real. But outside of the classroom, I'm very involved in a lot of things on campus. As I mentioned before, I am a PolyRep, and I currently sit as the head of outreach, which is the diversity and inclusion aspect of PolyReps. So we're all about internal education, also reaching out to different organizations on campus so that we can better represent them. Addition to that, I'm also heavily involved with like the Gender Equity Center, and there I actually perform in a show called Original Women's Narratives, which is essentially a compilation of all of these women identifying experiences that come in the form of monologues from students, faculty, people all over. They just come and submit them, and we take all of their pieces and their experiences, put into a script, and have this entire production. And it's really a beautiful thing. They're trying to stream it online. It was supposed to happen next week, but we're trying to just adapt to that. I'm also really involved with all the multicultural communities. I like to just throw myself into my passions. And also with that, I had the opportunity to work at the Cybersecurity Institute, which is actually a subsidiary of Cal Poly, and the ITS services. And there, I'm currently the augmented reality and virtual reality lead. And there I'm working on projects that use augmented reality and virtual reality to help people, essentially. My past project that I just gave a TED Talk on actually was about the this virtual reality program that I made that helps law enforcement be trained to better handle human trafficking situations. So thanks to Cal Poly, I've been able to take my passions for like humanitarian things and also combine them with my experience in technology. And that's something that I cannot trade, and why I sit on these calls, because I think you all deserve to have the same sort of experiences.
Thank you so much, Zanea. I really appreciate you being here, and I love hearing about your experiences at Cal Poly. You're doing amazing things already and making such a huge impact. Next up, we are going to hear from the Dean of our College of Science and Math, Dean Wendt. Dean, thank you for being here today. Can you share us a little bit about what you like about Cal Poly and what your story is?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you very much, Ryan. Dean Wendt is my name, and my title is Dean, so folks around here call me Dean. I use pronouns he, him, his, and I just want to say hello and welcome to all of you. And I wish that I could see all of you. I had a great time in your beautiful city last year doing this event, and I really look forward to being able to meet you in person when you come here to Cal Poly. I really like these opportunities to speak to prospective Cal Poly students and their families and supporters, because I was a prospective Cal Poly student once, and I know what you're wondering about. You know, you're thinking about a lot of different things, and many of them might be centered around when will I not be sheltering at home and be able to see my friends again. And I deeply hope that you and your loved ones are all well and safe. But when you're thinking about college, you're probably wondering what would be the best place for me. And there are all sorts of ways to think about that. Where am I going to get the best education? Will they have clubs and intramural sports that I'm interested in? Where will I fit in? Where will I find friends? What about surfing and hiking? And when I'm thinking about these kinds of choices, for me, the best reason to choose anything is that it'll change your life for the good. And that's what Cal Poly did for me. And that's what Cal Poly will do for you. If you choose to come here, which I really hope you will, I know it's a big claim to say that Cal Poly changed my life, but it did here. And what I discovered here at Cal Poly as a student was that actually I was a scientist, which is good since I'm the Dean of the College of Science and Math now. But as a first generation student, you know, I didn't necessarily see that. And the faculty and staff at this institution made me see things that I didn't actually realize about myself. So when I arrived at Cal Poly, I had no idea I was going to become a marine biologist. I didn't know that I was going to go on and get my PhD at Harvard University. I didn't know that I was going to spend a summer during that program studying molecular ecology at University of Washington's Friday Harbor Laboratories. But it was through their interest, that is the interest of the faculty and staff in my professional and intellectual development and their dedication to my learning, that I was able to chart an unimagined course for my life and realize, as the author Anthony Jack says, realize dreams undreamt. And that's what Cal Poly can do for you, and what I hope it will be able to do for you. And it's true, no matter where you go, your college is going to change your life. But I bet if you talk to current Cal Poly students like Zane or alumni, you're going to hear the same kinds of stories from all of us. And you're not going to hear these kinds of stories from students at a lot of universities. And so I'm going to tell you a few Cal Poly stories here and see if these sound like the kinds of stories you think will enrich your life and then make Cal Poly the place for you. First, I want to tell you a story about a student named Crystal Castillo. She came to Cal Poly to study biology as an undergraduate, and she's currently finishing her master's degree here. She says, I always wanted to do something that was unexpected of me, but as a young Hispanic girl, science wasn't pitched to me. And as an undergraduate here, Crystal met a professor named Gita Kularu, who inspired her to learn about the field of behavioral ecology, which is a field she didn't know anything about, she'd never considered. Let alone did she ever contemplate that she would begin to do research in that field and be contributing to it as a scholar. But what Professor Kularu saw in her was this incredible talent in this young scientist and a hunger to learn. And she encouraged Crystal to continue her studies to graduate school. And Crystal wanted to do that, but she didn't know how she was going to afford to do that. She thought she was going to have to go home, work for a while, save money, and then come back to do her master's degree. And what her professors told her is, no, you don't have to do that. You can apply for a fellowship to support your work. And that's what she did. She started working early, and she applied, and she received our country's most prestigious graduate fellowship. It's a graduate research fellowship from the National Science Foundation. And I asked Crystal, what were the keys to your success? And she said, it was, of course, the hard work and dedication that she had, but also it was the dedication and the interest of the faculty in her success and their ongoing mentorship for her to achieve it. And this story is not unique to Crystal. And this could be a story that's yours if you come here to Cal Poly. I want to tell you about one other person, and he's a little bit older now, and his name is Tim Geislinger. And he graduated from the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry about the same time that I graduated from Biological Sciences. And I didn't know Tim when we were students here together at Cal Poly, but this past year I got to know him very well. because he was selected as the College of Science and Math honored alum last year in 2020. And early in Tim's career, he engineered antibodies, which formed the foundation for first examples of targeted cancer therapeutics. And then he discovered some compounds early in his career that were used to treat symptoms associated with HIV and AIDS. And most recently, in a totally different field, he created and led a research and development team at Beyond Meat. And most notably, that team that he led developed the Beyond Burger, which is the first animal-free meat product to be sold in the meat counter that cooks and tastes like meat. So of course I asked him, how could you be so successful in all of these different areas? And how is it that Cal Poly helped you with that? And this is what Tim said to me. He said, I always try to use my expertise to do good for the world. And then what Cal Poly taught me was the power of doing. It showed me that I could change the world. And because Cal Poly focuses so intently on hands-on learning, on learn by doing, I left Cal Poly with a set of skills that enabled me to contribute in meaningful ways. And he talks about in all the work that he's done, and when he faces a challenging problem, he doesn't know at the beginning of that, how's he gonna get there? But what he does know is he knows how to execute. He knows how to chart a course and into uncharted territory, how to approach problems, and how to develop innovative solutions. And he says, I learned that at Cal Poly through their Learn by Doing curriculum. And so I just finally want to leave you by saying that what's most important in your decision is finding an institution that suits you as a learner. And I know you have a lot of choices. There's no doubt about that. But if you want an institution where the professors are absolutely dedicated to your success, where you will be engaged in innovative lectures and labs with hands-on active learning, where you can be partners in discovery with your fellow students and your faculty, and where you can reap the benefits like I just talked about for Crystal and Tim, then Cal Poly is the place for you. And I really hope to see all of you next fall, and I really thank you and your families for listening. You're muted.
Thank you for that, Dean. I appreciate it. Love hearing all those stories from students. And I really appreciate you being here today. Next, we're going to hear from our Vice President of Student Affairs, Keith Humphrey. Thank you, Keith. Can you share with us a little bit about your Cal Poly story?
Thanks, Ryan. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be with you virtually. I was planning to be with you today in Seattle and then spend spring break visiting my family that's up in the Seattle area. So it's a little surreal to be with you online. Like Ryan said, my name is Keith Humphrey. I'm Vice President for Student Affairs. My pronouns are he, his, him. I want to first congratulate all of you on your admission to Cal Poly and congratulate your families on your admission to Cal Poly. It is quite a significant achievement to be admitted into a university with the stature of Cal Poly. I have been at Cal Poly for 8 years, and what drew me to Cal Poly was the quality of the students and the community that they built. It's the connections that they have with their faculty that Dean just mentioned, and that really is the center of Learn by Doing. It's the 950 students that come out every year and volunteer their time to be orientation leaders. The 50% of our students that do community service all throughout San Luis Obispo, and the 93% of our students who are working in their field directly related to their major after graduation. So all of those things and the power of what students do in this environment is so exciting to me, and what helps me get inspired and come to work every day to make the experience even better. But I mentioned community, and that's a really interesting word right now because we often think of physical place when we think of community, our city, our town, or in our space, our beautiful campus in San Luis Obispo, which I'm hovering over right now. It's quite sunny on the campus I'm hovering over right now, but it is pouring rain in San Luis Obispo today. But community is, it's a challenging moment for our community because we are not physically together. But what we have found and what we've known is the strength of our community is not made up of the place. It is really made up of the people that make Cal Poly so special. Our students and faculty are coming together to build virtual activities, experiences, and points of connection. Our clubs are connecting virtually. Our students are stepping up and creating all sorts of unique ways to sustain this community from a distance. And Zane talked about the original women's narrative, which is one great example of how that's happening over the next few weeks. And so in true learn by doing fashion, everybody at Cal Poly is adapting quickly, and really adapting in a way that helps make the community even stronger. Now, I mentioned I'm Vice President for Student Affairs, and what is Student Affairs? And really our role is to make sure that the quality of students' out-of-class experience matches the quality of your in-class experience, and to make sure that we help you achieve your personal and professional success in so many ways. There are a few key ways that we do that, and I want to tell you about those. First, we do that through relationship building and making connections with all of the people throughout the Cal Poly community. That starts with our world famous orientation programs. Every year, other universities come to see our orientation programs to figure out how to try to do them. And nobody else can do them the way that we do them. And they really are the center of our community. It's through our residence hall experience where students don't choose a building they want to live in. They choose a living learning community where they want to spend their first year, whether that's by a college or major, through a social interest cause, or some other point of affiliation, so that you're not only living someplace, you're connecting with students who share a similar interest and maximizing on that interest. It's through getting involved. We have over 400 clubs or organizations for students to get involved in outside of the classroom, and we added 80 last year. Our students added 80 last year. If there's not a club or organization you see, you get to add it on your own. We have voluminous opportunities for community service throughout San Luis Obispo for our students. We have leadership programs for our students to make sure that no matter what you're doing outside of the classroom, you are building your leadership skills so that you can apply that to whatever field you choose to work in after graduation. Greek Life, which houses about 20% of our students and about half of our students that participate in intramural club sports at some point during their career at Cal Poly. We also focus on student success by paying close attention to well-being. And I think it's important in this moment to note that we have a full health center on campus that is fully accredited and staffed by board certified physicians, registered nurses, medical assistants, physician's assistants, licensed counselors, psychologists, and psychiatrists who are all there to make sure the body, mind, and the spirit are well. We pay incredible attention to the health and safety of our community. It's why our community is not together right now, and why we're all making sure that we're practicing good health and safety. And San Luis Obispo is a county in California that's really doing a great job flattening the curve of the coronavirus right now. And so I think that's reflective of all of the work that we do at Cal Poly. We also promote student success by paying strong attention to issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And really to us, that means that making sure that every individual that sets foot on our campus to study, to learn, to work, or to visit feels welcome for all of the identities they hold and what they bring to our campus. It's really important to all of our students. And we've heard from all of our students that being in a diverse and inclusive environment is critical to their learning and critical to their success. And we also hear it from our employers regularly. They want to make sure that our students are learning and partnering and working in a college environment that is not drastically different from the world where they're going to go to work in several years. And finally, we focus on students' long-term success. That is providing the academic support to our students. We know that the college courses and the pace of college courses are very different than the pace of high school courses. So we have lots of resources and support to help students along the way. Knowing you need help is not a weakness at Cal Poly. It's knowing you need help and not asking for it that is a weakness at Cal Poly. We also have our fantastic Career Services Center. You will get connected with that as a first-year student through our freshman focus team, and you will also build a relationship with your career advisor in your college or major. We know that we are a destination of choice for employers to come to Cal Poly, and I think it's really important in this moment when our country is experiencing the beginnings of an economic downturn to let you know that we feel confident that employers are going to stay with Cal Poly. They did in the last economic downturn when most of you students were in elementary school and not concerned about the economy as much. Employers chose to stay with Cal Poly because of the quality of our curriculum, the strength of what our faculty offer, and the quality of individuals and leaders that we put out. So we're absolutely confident that as you become alumni, employers will continue to stick with Cal Poly throughout this moment in time. So let me finish where I started and just say congratulations to all of you on your admission. I really hope that we see you as part of that fantastic Cal Poly community in the fall. I'm going to go ahead and put my contact information in the chat, so if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me afterwards. I'll turn it back to Ryan.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing all of that awesome information. Our last panelist today is an alumni of Cal Poly. His name is Greg Crickle, and he is from the College of Business. Hello, Greg. Thank you for joining us today. Please share a little bit about your Cal Poly story with us.
Yeah, of course. Also wanted to start by saying congratulations to everyone who's on the phone. I know it continues to get more and more difficult to get into Cal Poly as the years go on, so it's really a great accomplishment for you guys. So in my talk today, what I was going to do is go over a little bit about myself, and then talk about the different factors that go into deciding what college you should go to, and then go into the reasons why I think that Cal Poly is the right choice with those factors. So first of all, I studied industrial technology, which is now industrial packaging technology, which is within the business school at Cal Poly. While I was on campus, I was an ambassador for the College of Business, so I hosted tours. And now I'm working as a packaging engineer at Boeing. And then I'm also studying at the University of Washington, getting a master's in business administration currently. So I'm doing that in the evenings. And I know a lot of you are probably potentially deciding between those two schools right now. So the 5 factors that I think go into deciding what college to go to, and this is going to sound kind of corny because they all start with P, but bear with me. But I think those are the purpose, the path, the people, the price, and the place. And so the purpose has to do with what are your goals, and then also what are the objectives and the goals of the university, and how will they help you achieve what your purpose is. The path is, will the university serve as a launch pad for you in your career? The people are the faculty, the administration, and then also the students that build up the community of the university. And then the price is, will you be able to meet your objective without entering into crippling debt, which I know a lot of people do when they're making the decision to go to college. And then finally, the place. And so is the university in a place where you would enjoy spending the rest or the next 4 years of your life? And so going into why I think the purpose of Cal Poly is so special. The purpose of Cal Poly is learn by doing. And so Cal Poly does not focus on lecturing and having you regurgitate information after you learn it in a lecture. It really focuses on labs, projects, teamwork, which are super, super critical for you to learn and for you to experience before you launch into a career. And then the other part of purpose is your own purpose as an individual. So finding your passion. If you're anything like me, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. When I was going to college, I kind of just, the way I chose industrial technology was I threw a dart at the board somewhere between engineering and business, and that's where I stuck. But going to Cal Poly really helps you find your passion. So there's tons of clubs you can join. There's lots of ways you can get involved on campus. And there's a lot of resources that you can do to find your purpose. And then finally, one of the huge benefits of Learn by Doing that I wanted to touch on was the amount of projects. So for an example that I wanted to share specific to my experience was one of my projects that I worked on in IT, which is the capstone course for the industrial technology program was we had to think of an idea, a concept. We had to engineer it. We had to fabricate 100 units of it, and then we had to create a little business and sell all 100 units of it. So that's an example of learn by doing there. I also had friends who were in mechanical engineering who did really awesome projects, one of which was designing and fabricating a suspension system for a fully solar car. So there's tons of opportunities for you to get involved and to really get hands-on experience doing learn by doing. The second one is the path. And the paths at Cal Poly are phenomenal. Like I mentioned, I am working at Boeing, now doing a master's degree, and I have Cal Poly to thank for all of that. They have career fairs where you can get in touch with different employers, and I have many, many friends who are also very successful after going to Cal Poly, whether they're doing med school, whether they're doing law school, whether they're in finance, venture capital, working at big tech companies, you name it. The Cal Poly really sets you up to enter whatever industry that you're going into. And then another thing they focus on is make an impact and ready day one. So that's another area where I can shed some light into my personal experience. So what I learned in school set me up to make an impact day one on the job. I had 2 internships. I did an internship at Boeing, and I learned the correct programs that I needed to learn. I learned how to interface with the different employees. And so I was making packaging during my internship, even though I was there for 3 months, which is great. The people, I can't speak highly enough of the people at Cal Poly. The faculty is amazing. Every college obviously has great faculty and great administration, but I think Cal Poly stands out. And one thing that's really exceptional about Cal Poly is in the labs, the faculty and the full-time professors are there with you in the labs rather than a TA in most cases. And so that really gives you the opportunity to make a one-on-one connection with your professors, as well as they host office hours and other things. And then also another thing to touch on is the students there at Cal Poly. It really was a big difference for me versus high school going to Cal Poly. Everyone has an objective in mind, everyone is focused on their studies, and everyone's there to have fun too. So it's a really an awesome community to get involved in. Let's see here, price. Cal Poly often boasts the return on investment. So being out of state, slightly different, but I think it is still definitely very competitive. And the price is going to set you up in a way that you're not going to be in crippling debt once you graduate, when you enter the workforce. And then the place is the last one that I wanted to talk about. San Luis Obispo is probably one of the most beautiful places in the world. And there's plenty of ways you can go to the beach, you can go on hikes, you can go to waterfalls, you can go to Big Sur, which is just up the road. And it's a small-ish beach town in California. And there's no place like it. It's the happiest place on earth. And that's really reflected through the people that are there as well. And so I am very, very happy that I went to Cal Poly. I think it was the best decision that I've made in my entire life. And I absolutely cherish the time that I spent there. And it set me up for a future that I'm proud of. So to leave you guys with this is make sure you work hard, make sure you put yourself out there, you try new things, say yes to opportunities as they come up. And most importantly, make friends, because these are going to be your connections that you build the rest of your life on. Make friends and have fun. That's it. Thank you.
Greg, thank you so much for sharing. And thank you to all of our special Cal Poly guests and panelists. Now we're going to open it up to some of the questions that you've been asking in the chat room. We're going to direct them right to our panelists. I can see that you all have a lot of awesome questions, so keep it coming. We're doing our best to keep up. We have an amazing team of people there who are responding to your questions. So feel free, as any questions come up, to go ahead and keep asking those. But right now we're going to start with our first question. Our first question is, how can I find internships and jobs on and off campus? And anyone who feels comfortable answering this, go ahead from our panel.
Yeah, I think I'll take this one. In my experience, so Cal Poly does have a quarterly career fair for all majors. The biggest one is in the fall. It happens and it's hosted in like our recreation center. It's pretty awesome. You know, you just go to the gym and then you go to the career fair right after. But we also have an interface designed for Cal Poly students finding jobs on and off campus. It's called Handshake or like Mustang Jobs, and students are able to apply through there. All of your like requirements, or no, sorry, all of your like classifications of the students are already there, and you can also add your resume and all of that. And there's ways you can sign up for interviews through that for both on-campus jobs and also per major. I know that each major has their own career fair that they hold at least once a year. For me, the computing career fair is also a huge one. It's held off campus at the Madonna Inn Expo during fall quarter, and it's like during the same week as all the other career fairs too. So you could just have so many different career fairs. There's like startup career fairs as well. Just everything across the board.
Thank you so much, Zane. I will get to our next question here. Earlier, Keith said Cal Poly is a destination of choice for employers. How does a Cal Poly degree compare to other schools like the University of Washington?
Yeah, I'll jump. Greg's. Yeah, let Greg take this one.
Yeah, so I can jump in. Cal Poly is recognized, and I can really only speak to my experience here. But being at Boeing, I know that Cal Poly carries a really good name. Whenever I tell people that I, went to Cal Poly, they're always very impressed. And I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, but it keeps on getting progressively better and better. So the reputation of the school is increasing over time, and people hold it in high regard. And that's really important going forward. And then also it really reflects in the amount of opportunities that people get. I know people working at the best tech companies, anything you name it. They all recruit from Cal Poly, and the Cal Poly students are definitely qualified to go work at any of those places. And most importantly, they're able to make an impact in any of those places day one.
Ryan, I'll jump in. I'm not an expert in the University of Washington, so it's not fair to compare. What I will say is the University of Washington is in a class of universities that are known as really research intensive universities. And my career prior to coming to Cal Poly was at those types of universities. And those universities are ones that have a lot of emphasis on the graduate student experience, research for graduate students, and things of that nature. And one of the things that I find most exciting and distinct about Cal Poly is that we are almost exclusively focused on the undergraduate student. As Greg said, our professors are in the lab with our students, not our graduate students. We only have about 900 graduate students in a handful of majors throughout the college. So it really is an entirety of the university focused on producing the best possible bachelor's degree educated students we can.
I'll chime in after that a little bit too. Now that I am a student at the University of Washington, it is definitely a different dynamic and a different feel, being that there's a lot of graduate students there. Being at Cal Poly, there are graduate students, but that's not the primary focus of the university. And so when you're around campus, you're with people who are your age, you're with people who are working on similar things as you. And I think that really benefits the community as a whole.
Do you mind if I chime in on that one as well? So I would add, Keith made the distinction between institutions with different fundamental missions. And you're hearing that Cal Poly is very student-centered and focused primarily on undergraduates with a few graduate programs. But what I want to make clear is that even though we're not defined as a research-intensive institution, we have a huge number of research opportunities for our students. And our students, our undergraduates, actually collaborate with active faculty that are known in their fields. And so they spend a lot of time working, doing research in the various disciplines with their faculty. And so one of the things that is really exciting is that we have across campus a summer undergraduate research program where hundreds and hundreds of students stay on campus and receive funding to work with faculty in research. So those are some of the really incredible learn by doing opportunities that happen for our students, and they often involve research or project-based experiences.
Great. Thank you so much for all of you for contributing to that question. That's a super relevant question, and I really appreciate those answers and those different responses. One thing I've heard from a lot of students at Cal Poly is there are just a tremendous amount of opportunities given to those undergraduate students that you don't see a lot of institutions. So thank you so much. Moving on to question 3. This is also very relevant to a lot of students coming from out of state. How do I best prepare going to college out of state? What if I get homesick?
I guess I could answer that one. So how can you best prepare so I think like the best way to prepare for college out of state is for people that you regularly speak to, just figure out a way to like make sure you're reaching out to them on a regular basis to be reminded of what home feels like. But I also am a very big believer in the idea of wherever you are planted, make sure you bloom. So if you do get homesick, I have gotten homesick in the past. I do miss Seattle. I miss, like, it's raining right now and I feel like I'm at home. But if you do, like, wherever you end up, just try to find like the qualities of home wherever you are. Like, there are people who are willing to help support you. You're going to make so many great friends and you're going to be able to explore all these different parts about yourself while you're in college. So just don't be afraid of being homesick. Just be able to be preemptive about it. Just make a new home so that you'll never be homesick ever.
Thank you so much, Zane. Question number 4. What are some fun things to do in San Luis Obispo? I know, Zane and Greg, you probably have some great ideas there, but feel free, any of you, to share what some of your favorite things are to do in San Luis Obispo.
Do you want to start, Greg, or I got it?
I can go.
Yeah.
I've always been really into the outdoors, and you know, being in Washington has a lot of great outdoor activities like hiking, backpacking, climbing, whatnot. Cal Poly and San Luis Obispo as a whole is definitely a little bit different than Washington in the sense that there aren't gigantic mountains, but there's a lot of great hiking in terms of like Bishop's Peak. There's tons of hiking. There's the beach, which is really great to go to just to hang out, go swimming, go surfing, whatever you're into there. I know there's a surfboard making class that Cal Poly offers, which is really cool. So lots of opportunities there. You can go camping. There's tons of places to go camping, like Big Sur, which is just a little bit north. And then just to hang out with friends and get involved in the community, really, and go do clubs and go do and just hang out with your friends, really. There's a lot going on in SLO. There's lots of good food. The downtown scene is really cool to go get dinner and hang out. So a lot to do.
Yeah, no, adding on to that, he touched on a lot. So the community, like as mentioned before, Cal Poly is in a college town, and because of that, the community is embracing our students a lot in terms of the things that are held. Every Thursday downtown, there's just this huge farmers market that happens. So all of the local businesses just pitch up shop, and they're selling their food fresh and everything. Like I get an elote every week, but just back when we were able to go downtown, I would just do that every week. That was just my thing. We have bike night on the first, I believe it's Tuesday or Thursday of every month. And then that means everybody just gets on a bike and they ride all around San Luis Obispo, not just Cal Poly students, but community members too. I've seen tricycles, I've seen carriages, I've seen, all of the bikes ever that have been there. So you really get to have a feel for it. It's a big place, but it feels like a small town.
I did want to add one more thing, and that's that it's 75 and sunny year-round, basically. So you can do all of those outdoor things the entire year, which you can't really put a price on. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you so much. I know one of my favorite things to do in the area is to go to Montaño de Oro State Park and go to the tide pools and go walking around. And You can even go camping there, lots of butterflies. So that's definitely one of my favorite places as well. So we'll go on to our next question here. What are some resources available to both parents and supporters?
I'll take this one. In Student Affairs, we're very proud to host the Parent and Family Programs Department. They provide regular communication to our parents, what we kind of call just-in-time communication. We know what's coming up for students, and so we try to push it out to parents beforehand. We also share all major campus announcements and communications with parents, and there's a dedicated team there that is kind of a port and storm for parents. Their first call, the student is experiencing something that's not going so well, and every college student at every university is going to experience something that's not going so well. We have a team that's really there to help parents figure out how to best advise their student so that their student can figure out how to solve it on their own. That's a really important thing that we're always trying to teach and help our parents with that skill. And finally, they also plan return visits for parents, Parent and Family, Mustang Family Weekend, and other weekends that help families come back and see how students are doing. So there's a lot for parents on campus.
Thank you, Keith. I'm sure that definitely makes a lot of parents feel better to know that there are those resources available. Next question is, how does Cal Poly support humanities related majors, especially because we're mostly known for STEM? And I know that many of you are in STEM fields, but is there someone who'd be able to answer that question about how we support humanities majors?
Sure, I'll take that. For the College of Liberal Arts. And, you know, in many ways, the College of Science and Mathematics is very similar. I know this might sound unusual, but similar to the College of Liberal Arts in that we are what I call foundational colleges. And that is that there are the professional colleges like business and architecture and agriculture and engineering. And we serve not only the majors in our colleges, but the majors across the entire campus. For instance, if you're an engineer, you're going to take 25% of your classes in my college with the faculty in my college. And that's true also for the College of Liberal Arts. And what I will say is that within those colleges, you have active, engaged faculty that are there whose life's work is in that subject. And so the experience that a liberal arts student has or a science and math student has is the same in terms of the quality and interest of the faculty and engagement of the faculty in those students as it is in any of the colleges. So those foundational colleges, as I call them, have their group of faculty and staff that are just as dedicated and care just as much and are just as recognized in their fields as in those professional schools.
Maybe I could also add on to Dean's response from a career and outcomes perspective. I mentioned that lots of employers focus with us. And for example, one major national employer, Oracle, made a decision about 5 years ago to narrow its focus to 10 universities only for its hiring. And Cal Poly was one of those, among other universities that you would probably recognize, like Stanford and MIT, other really big names. What I think was most interesting about that experience is they came to Cal Poly the first year to hire 25, and they hired 42 because they were so impressed with our students. And every year they've been back and they've hired more. And over 70% of their hires have been students from non-technical fields, because what they see in our students who aren't from the technical background is that they know how to span discipline and communicate across different ways of thinking. And that's very valuable to any organization, and particularly valuable to Oracle.
Thank you to both of you. I really appreciate those responses. Next question is probably one that's on the minds of many of our listeners right now. What is housing at Cal Poly like? How do I find roommates?
Well, I'll jump in and get started, but I definitely think our students can talk about what it's like to live there. All of our first year students, as I mentioned, live in a living learning community spread out across one of our different residence halls. They're all traditional residence halls, doubles, triples, and quad rooms with community bathrooms. The living learning communities are organized by college, areas of affiliation. There's spirit theme, there's social justice theme, there's community service themes, all different ways to help you build connections and make community throughout campus. And I can guarantee you, if you live in the College of Science and Math community, Dean Wendt will be standing at the front door on move-in day, shaking every student and parent's hand to welcome them into that building. How do you find roommates? We don't do any sort of personality profile or roommate matching for a whole variety of reasons that probably would take too long to get into on this chat, but we do allow students to select and mutually express interest in being roommates, and if that happens, we will match you. There's a class of 20, what are we up to, 2024 is this now? Class of 2024 Facebook page. And Facebook is a social media tool that most students don't use, but your parents know how to use it. And it is, you can go out there and meet other students and self-identify roommates. For our continuing students, we offer apartment living for our students, and that is 4-bedroom apartments. Every student has a single room. There are 2 bathrooms and a kitchen and a living room. And students, entering students coming in our Colleges of Architecture and Environmental Design and College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Sciences will be required to live on campus the second year. We're moving towards requiring all students to live on campus second year because the academic outcomes are so strong for students who live on campus 2 years versus just 1.
Thank you so much for sharing. Do any of the students, Greg or Zanae, would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, I could add on to it. So I was one of the people that lived on campus for 2 years. I lived in the towers my first year, and I lived in the apartment living at Poly Canyon Village my second year, and I can attest to it really does help like transitioning you into the whole college life. Like I now live off campus, but living on campus was like a really great way. You would always wake up and you would see there'd always be people down the hall. You could always make new friends. I remember my first year, my resident assistant like made little goodie bags for each of us to help all of us just get prepared for the quarter. So you live with like an RA, you live with other students, you have like common areas where you're able to study and like work and meet new people. And I'm still in touch with a lot of people that I lived with my first year. And it's just a really great way to help transition you into college. But the one thing is there's no like specific dining halls per resident area. And so you have to walk to like the central area at the University Union to get food with your meal plan and everything. But I see that more as like a benefit because like it forces you to move out and go around campus and everything. So the way that I feel like housing is set up here is pretty successful.
Thank you so much, Zanae. Another question we have here is about study abroad. And the question is, can I study abroad regardless of the major I'm in? So are there any limitations to certain majors for studying abroad?
I believe that there are over 400 programs in 80 different countries available through the study abroad programs here at Cal Poly. Like the numbers are crazy. So about 1 in 8 Cal Poly students have the opportunity to study abroad. Like those are the ones who choose to do it. And I know that from personal experience. Like I haven't personally been able to study abroad, but I know people, my friend Sophia Loon, who is a fellow Poly rep, came to Cal Poly as an architectural engineering major, I believe, with the intention of going to Spain. Like she didn't care how she got there. She just really wanted to. And she was able to walk into the study abroad office, tell them her goals and everything, and they were able to hold her hand, walk her through the process, and get her to where she wanted to be. So to answer your question, it's possible to be part of these programs no matter what time of year, no matter what kind of things you want to study, because general education curriculum is also provided abroad. So that's something that all students have the opportunity to take.
Thank you so much. Anyone want to add on to that?
The only thing that I would add on to that would be to say, start planning with your academic advisor early in your college career if studying abroad is of interest to you. and they will help you make sure you fit it in a way that doesn't slow down your time to graduation.
Thank you. Next, we have a question. How has the university worked to mitigate racism and minority affairs in the wake of the 2018 incidents?
I could answer from the student perspective at first. So the incident that's like being discussed at hand actually happened in the spring of my sophomore year. And this was during a time when I was really heavily involved in a lot of like the other like cultural community kids on campus. So I was like part of the discussions that were led about talking about like what response to this and what it did. And one of those situations, or that situation in place, like even though like it was a terrible incident, what it did was that it brought attention to a lot of things that needed to change on campus. It brought attention to what people needed to like, how people need to see things differently. A lot of different offices and programs got established. In fact, the committee that I lead in terms of diversity inclusion for the university ambassadors was established in response to the incident in itself. So what happened there is that a lot of students who had resilience and saw like the wrongs in the situation were able to speak up and do things in order to have change on campus. And even though we aren't like even though like there's programs have just been established, we're on our way to make it a better place. And the reason why I'm actually a university ambassador and everything is because I love Cal Poly enough that I'm able to hold it accountable for change. So I'm not afraid to speak up about these issues. I'm not afraid to like talk about it. Like it was like a really bad thing. And the fact that we're able to change it instead of like mitigate it or like try to not just underplay it was a really powerful thing. And I'm really like glad that administration was able to do that. And so a variety of programs have come into place, like diversity inclusion is now mandated for a lot of like Greek organizations. Someone has to have a chair in that. Also, it's a priority for a lot of different communities and clubs on campus. People talk about it. There's been speakers that have been invited on campus to talk about these things. We just had Spike Lee this past quarter and Angela Davis come on our campus. And they also come to our campus with like the same knowledge that we're all trying to get better. And even though we're not perfect, we are like 100 steps farther than we have been before.
Thank you so much, Zane. Keith, would you like to add on?
Zane said it really well. This is the work of our society. I believe right now is to really step up and do the work to self-work internally and self-work in our organizations to make sure that we are as inclusive as possible. And I think what Cal Poly experienced happens on many other campuses, but I think the way that we center that work at Cal Poly is so different than any other university. We take things that happen, good or bad, and in this case something that wasn't so good, and we learn by doing it, and we figure out how we are going to improve as a community, how we're going to step up and make others feel comfortable. As Zane said, a lot of resources have been put in place to make sure that students who hold underrepresented identities feel even more welcome on our campus. A lot of work has been done with students who hold privileged identities. And our most recent campus climate study really bore those results of our students who hold privilege said they want to work to make Cal Poly better for everybody on our campus. So we know out of some really hurtful and terrible situations, a lot of positive good can come for the future.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'd like to add just from the academic affairs perspective, this is clearly a important focus in all areas of the campus, and in the classroom, and the faculty have taken this on in a very significant and meaningful way, and they are doing workshops on how to build inclusive campuses. They are changing their syllabi to reflect the importance of diversity and inclusion. They're teaching in different ways, recognizing that the people in their classes are not of the same identities, and how can I be sensitive to that and make sure that I'm not inadvertently making classrooms not welcoming or not letting all students share who they are and bring who they are to learning. And this is happening in math courses, in science courses, and across the entire university. And each of the colleges has developed several actions to continue to grow and improve and make our community better and a better place for all of our students and faculty and staff to learn and grow.
Thank you so much. We have one final question before we start wrapping up. And I want, if you don't mind all sharing, I'd love you all to address it. What's one thing you love about Cal Poly, or what's one piece of advice that you can share with our admitted students?
I'll start, if that's okay. I mean, as a Cal, I was a Cal Poly student, and then I came back in 2002 as a faculty member, and then I moved into administration. So I've felt the institution from many different roles and perspectives. And one of the things that to me is just so tremendous is that Cal Poly is a place where you can come and discover your passion, and the faculty and the staff and your fellow students are here to do that as well. And that is, I think, that genuine focus on students and helping them discover their passion. It happened to me as a student, and then I was able to do it as a professor. And now I try to facilitate that work of all of the 225 faculty within my college, but they're all focused on the students and helping those students discover their passions.
You know, I said it in the beginning of my presentation. I love the students and I love what our students do. That is what makes me so excited about this community. And the one piece of advice that I would have to students is come ready to get involved and get engaged. Don't sit on the sidelines. That's not why you come to a place like Cal Poly that is deeply residential and deeply involved. So make sure you're ready to jump with both feet into the experience.
I kind of
answer now. So the thing that really stood out to me about Cal Poly was the relationships that I made there. I made some of my best friends there, and I know some people asked about the dorm experience first year. Even though Cal Poly is obviously very rigorous, you will have a lot of time on your hands to really get to know the people you're living with. And those are relationships that you're going to have the rest of your life. So that was probably my favorite thing about Cal Poly. Was the relationships that I made and just being in such a beautiful place to hang out with those new friends. And then advice to people is to put yourself out there. Go get involved in the clubs, get involved in Greek life, get involved in as many things as you possibly can during your time at Cal Poly, because those are going to be what build your experience and what give you character as an individual.
Yeah, so for me, the reason why I chose Cal Poly was because I saw the support and all of the opportunities that I could be a part of. I knew for my program in particular, there is this club called Women in Software and Hardware, and it's a club basically that empowers women in my field to make sure that they're successful. And so because I saw those support systems and I saw the opportunities that were available, it was an easy decision for me. And also the weather too, also a great thing. So in terms of just advice that I have for people going on, I've kind of touched on this before, but just two things. First, wherever you end up, whether it be at Cal Poly or another university, make sure that you take advantage of all the opportunities, as Greg said, because college is a time for you not only to grow your mind, but also your soul. So wherever you end up, make sure you take advantage of those, make sure you explore these different identities, make sure you get to meet new people, because that's something that I am just about to be really sad to lose. And then my second thing is just that higher education overall is such an honor and a privilege. So make sure, like my biggest regret when I was in your shoes is that I didn't say thank you enough to everybody who helped me get to where I was. So thank you to all the supporters that have helped you get there. Make sure you thank your counselors and your teachers, like everybody. Just be grateful for everyone who helps you see your success.
Thank you so much. Wow, thank you all for participating in our event today. I am so energized by all your enthusiasm and resilience. We are so happy that you were able to join us to learn more about our campus, academics, and student life. We hope you're all excited and ready to join our Cal Poly Mustang family. Moving forward, remember to keep checking your Cal Poly portal and your student checklist regularly. Some important dates and deadlines I want to remind you of. You must accept or decline your offer of admission by the national deadline of May 1st. You can do this directly from your Cal Poly portal. It's super easy. And remember, there's no deposit required to accept your offer of admission. The housing and orientation registration deadlines are May 7th. And once you accept your offer of admission, those will become available to you on your portal as well. Speaking of orientation, slow days, which are super fun, the options for those are in July and early August, but there's also an option for you to do your slow days in September if that fits your needs better. Our new student move-in is on September 11th and 12th, followed by our WOW week from September 13th to September 20th. And last but not least, first day of classes begin on September 17th. As we start to wrap up this event, please remember to download any of the resources we included in the chat feature if you like, but we also did email them to you, so if you missed them, they are there. We're also going to be emailing you a copy of the recording of this webinar, so definitely feel free to contact us if there's anything else that comes up, any additional questions that come up later, feel free to reach out. You will see my contact information up here. Please feel free to text me, email me, call me with any questions that you have. I'm happy to help. Again, thank you so much for joining us and congratulations on all of your accomplishments. Please take care and I hope you decide to join our Mustang family. Welcome.